I feel like the past 24 hours has just been a complete nightmare. 104% on imports coming from China. 104%. And that means my small business that I put everything into is fucking done. I quit my corporate job about a year and a half ago to chase my dreams. I designed and launched a kids fitness brand, and it was going great. I paid fair wages, I built relationships, and then overnight, the cost just more than doubled. My margins were gone. You know, my business doesn't pay for a yacht or a private jet. It pays for our daughter's swim classes. It covers groceries. It helps with babysitters for date nights. This isn't just numbers on a policy sheet. It's real people, real jobs, real families. And now I'm back at square one. So wish me luck.
I can't tell you how brutal these tariffs are. I'm a small business. I sell travel and organization products. My brand sells to Nordstrom, Macy's, Anthropologie, and also my direct-to-consumer site. But I'm telling you, everything is so uncertain right now and scary, and some big opportunities that we're going to be kicking off are on hold. I'm just like, what is going to happen? I'm trying not to stress. I've been through over 20 years of business. What goes down comes up, what's up comes down, but this is just like absolutely unprecedented. So if you had your eye on any of my products, I tagged one here, check it out, because I might have to raise my prices, and I can't imagine doing that. I don't want to do that. It's like a bad dream, and all I can do is just try and be optimistic, but damn. So support your small businesses right now. If you see something that you love, snatch it up, because prices are going to be increasing. I'm a self-funded small business. This is my livelihood. This is my everything.
So let's put this right. You own a business. Yeah, you are a small business owner. You can't afford to import much. You import less. You sell. You make little profit. Then you reinvest the capital. Right? You spend the profit. You reinvest the capital. Right? So maybe you have maybe a fixed capital of 500,000, which is your liquid asset, which you used to trade, right? So someone wake up in the morning from the White House, probably a lunatic, I don't know. He decides to place 104% tariffs on the goods which you trade. First, without consulting the small businesses, first, without thinking about the implication, and first, without informing you about the incoming tariffs so that you can plan in advance, which is very wrong, right? He doesn't care about the small businesses, because if he had, he would have told them in advance, I'm doing this. Then they can plan maybe a month or weeks earlier.
As of today, due to these tariff wars, all production will be on hold. We can't afford the material tariffs right now. It's literally impossible for us. So you can buy our last 400 right here. We'd really appreciate it. And also, I'll be praying for all small businesses. Pray for my business as well. I just want to thank all of our followers, all of our customers for supporting us all throughout the years. This is another hurdle that we have to get over, and we will get over, because I do not want to fail. I want to keep succeeding in having my own small business. And for all the other small business owners, don't give up. Keep your head up high. Put it like that.
Many of us here in the US are waking up this morning to our investments and stocks plummeting. I know I made the mistake of checking my account. Trump's tariffs have had a huge, huge impact on the economy and will continue to do so. You know, it's a bad sign when his former vice president, Mike Pence, is speaking out directly against these tariffs and warning that the average American will be losing $3,500 this year as a result of the tariffs. Do you know how many people voted for this administration without even understanding what a tariff is? But do you know who did explain it and did warn over and over? Kamala Harris. She spoke out directly against what is happening now. And yet, here we are.
So let's put this right. You own a business. Yeah, you are a small business owner. You can't afford to import much. You import less. You sell. You make little profit. Then you reinvest the capital. Right? You spend the profit. You reinvest the capital. Right? So maybe you have maybe a fixed capital of 500,000, which is your liquid asset, which you used to trade, right? So someone's wake up in the morning from the White House, probably a lunatic, I don't know. He decides to place 104% tariffs on the goods which you trade. First, without consulting the small businesses, first, without thinking about the implication, and first, without informing you about the incoming tariffs so that you can plan in advance, which is very wrong, right? He doesn't care about the small businesses because if he had, he would have told them in advance, I'm doing this. Then they can plan maybe a month or 2 weeks earlier.
Look, let's look at a simple small business tariff and how it affects them. Let's say, just for even numbers, a small business buys a product for $100 and sells it for $150. They make a 50% profit margin. That's reasonable. Now they're getting a notice from China. It goes, your product is ready to ship. Now it's going to cost you $224 to buy that product, times thousands. Okay, because they didn't just order one, obviously. In order to maintain a 50% profit margin, they're going to have to sell that for around $350. How many people are going to buy that product that was once $150, $350? What are you going to tell that small business? America first? Buy it here? Who's going to make it for that price in America when you're paying somebody $30 an hour? When you have to pay union dues? When you have to pay 8-10% taxes on your products? Property taxes? When you have to pay employees health insurance at $2,500 a month? How are you going to do that? You're not. You're simply not. Your American exceptionalism didn't consider those small businesses. This is actually America last, because you're going to decimate the small businesses that did that. You cannot make those products at the same price. And then Americans that want to be America first don't want to pay the higher prices because you want to buy cheap stuff. You want to buy it cheap, but you want to buy it in America. You can't have it both ways. You simply can't. And once again, your selfishness didn't consider how this would affect other people. That's why we're here, is selfishness, short-sightedness, simple understanding, lack of understanding of basic economics. Some of these people have $50,000, $100,000 orders. They don't know what to do. They're sitting there. They're made. They're like, I can't sell it for that price. And not just that, but look at the unemployment rates going up. The economy's going down. People are spending less money. They're holding money expecting a recession or even a depression. It depends on how bad it gets. They're only spending money on food and groceries. Basic necessities. For what? Because you wanted America to be great? How is it great when you're bankrupting small businesses? I really wish you would start thinking about other people. It's decimating small businesses. But as long as you got your orange Jesus, I guess who cares, right? America first, even if it decimates small businesses. Yeah, that's why America's not great. Because you don't care about the people that it hurts, as long as you get to wave your flag and it represents whatever you think that it means. That's a damn shame.
Look at this. Small businesses are in survival mode. 35 million small businesses are struggling to survive right now. If you did not know, Small business is actually 98% of business in the United States. No, it's not corporation. And as you know, corporations are taking billion-dollar losses right now because of tariffs. So small business owners, they don't have that capital. They don't have that funding. Small business owners are typically normal people. They are struggling right now. Look at this. They are in survival mode. If you did not know, bankruptcies are already surging. Bankruptcies are surging for small business owners, farmers, and personal bankruptcy is already soaring. Small business is going to be devastated, and that means it will be devastating for the economy. Drop your comments and follow for more.
Today I'm here at The Forge, which is a community maker space in Greensboro. This is a place where people come to learn different skills and use their equipments and workspaces, and some of them even launch their own small businesses here. So you could learn skills for pottery, metal shops, wood shops, welding, textiles, there's so much more. But I chose this place here today because they are feeling the direct impacts of tariffs imposed under Trump's administration. So the reason why they are so directly impacted is because they use a lot of raw materials like metal, steel, and also a lot of their parts from their electronic machines, they are all imported. When you walk in, you can see some of these small businesses and their products, their brand. They all work out of this place, The Forge. Parts for this laser engraver machine are imported from China. And it's raw materials like this metal used for welding here at this welding station that is really seeing the direct impacts of the tariffs since they have to be imported. So the Forge was supposed to expand in the next 2 to 3 years, but now with these tariffs, their executive director, Tiffany Jacobs, tells me that covering their operational costs now is their priority. So if that means that they have to push the date back for that expansion, then that's going to have to happen. So I'll keep you guys posted.
They're banning all ways that you can make income being self-employed, running your own business, from SWs to the tariffs that will ensure a lot of small business owners aren't able to keep their doors open. The bigger corporations, the tariffs are going to affect them, sure. Maybe they'll get smaller bonuses, but the reality is it's going to affect the self-made entrepreneurs running small businesses in your neighborhoods, and it's only a matter of time before they get everyone again reliant on capitalism so that they're easier to control.
This is a guy who literally bankrupted 6 casinos. You're bankrupting a casino, it's unheard of. In my whole lifetime, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, I've never had any betting firm collapse. I have never, unless maybe with government intervention. If there is, correct me. If there is, correct me. I'm ready for that. Someone who bankrupted 6 casinos. Someone who inherited $1 million of US dollars from his father. Someone who inherited a business empire from his father and still became a failure. Think of that, became a failure. So this is the guy who we are expecting to save the situation, the business situation in America. This is the guy we are relying on, a failed businessman, to become a good leader in the business world, in the biggest commercial hub in the world. This is a guy who is literally controlling the economy of the whole world. And we expect him to make sober decisions like the one he was making with his businesses. So we expect Trump to be a good businessman, to be a good leader in the business world. A guy who is putting unprecedented tariffs at the middle of the night without informing traders. Because these are people who are starting from scratch. These are people who are trying to build something of themselves. So if you put tariff at the middle of the night when they have placed orders without knowledge of the incoming tariffs, how do you expect them to survive in this world? Why does the government hate small businesses? Why does the government hate the common man? Why does it hate? Because companies like Apple, like Tesla, like Microsoft, they have their way around because they have millions of dollars to corrupt the presidents, millions of dollars to lobby in the Congress, millions of dollars to lobby in the Senate. Small business owners, do they have such money to lobby? Do they? So, guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, this is our wake up call. A small light scatters away much darkness. So, help us to scatter a lot of darkness which is going on in our country. By giving us the subscription, the comment, the like, it's a small light you are shining, and it goes a long way. Thank you.